Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let me even start and just test this. So inflation numbers came out on the 15th. I wonder, do you follow inflation numbers? Do they make any impact? Does it relate? Do you relate to it? Does it affect you in any way? Let's start from there.
Yeah, actually, once in a while we check them up, but sometimes you find that they don't translate immediately to the life of the common man on the street. So that's the experience we actually
So, I mean, it really doesn't make any difference to you whether they say inflation is up or inflation is down, the number is this.
Sometimes it doesn't translate. That's the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we might as well just stop.
Sometimes it doesn't.
All right, but tell us how it's been like in the food and beverages. It makes up about 73% of manufacturing in Nigeria, and we're talking about the real sector here. How has it been in your operations in the food and beverages sector in Nigeria in recent times?
Okay, thank you so much. I would say it's been interesting, and also it's been challenging. For us, at Cedar Divine Nigeria Limited, we started small, but we have grown within a short period of time. In the recent times, I can say that it's been quite tough. Tough in the sense that the prices of raw material are very unstable. Because once the exchange rate changes, it affects the raw material, and you can't go back to the market and tell the customer the price has just changed. So it's been quite challenging, and a number of other huge gap in terms of infrastructure also affected. But on the positive side, we have a very lucrative population. So the business is good, and the market is there. That's actually the truth.
But for someone like you who makes yogurt, I thought most of your raw materials would be locally sourced.
Okay, well, it should be, but I think currently no yogurt producing company in Nigeria can tell you that they use purely locally sourced milk, which is a major raw material, because our environment actually doesn't help that. The cows we have don't give enough milk. The temperature does not really encourage that. So a lot still have to buy the imported raw material mixed with the local one to be able to get the volume they want. So right now, it's still a hybrid situation.
Is it about that, or is it just about the perception that, Nigeria, maybe Nigerian product is not good enough or doesn't taste well? Is it about that?
No. It's not about that. I remember a couple of months ago, we had a meeting with one of the big companies who would think that because they have all the resources, they could backward integrate and have a lot of cattle farms. But the experience they also narrated was such that their yield was so minimal. And then in the area where they even had a farm because of insecurity, they lost the staff, and their cows were carted away and all of that. So there are a lot of issues that are not encouraging enough production in that area.
So, I mean, it's structural issues of insecurity, because, I mean, if you just check now, you see Nigeria has maybe the largest cattle in Africa and everything like that. And in spite of this, we still have to import dairy into the country, which is a sad one. But dealing with the issue of insecurity, how much impact do you think that could reduce this dependence on imported raw materials for you?
Yeah, actually, I think that would have helped if we have a stable security situation. Up north, like places like Jos, that's Plateau State, and a number of those states in the north where the temperature is quite cold, I believe cows will yield better there, milk, all right, as against the south that will have very hot temperature. But up north, because of the huge security situation, people are not encouraged to go into those kind of farming because of the attacks and all of that. So I think it contributes a lot to it. But outside of that, from what we have seen, it still looks like some of the cattle we have, look at the approach. A cattle is moving from here to probably another 20 kilometers and all of that. How will it be able to produce enough milk? It's not. So the system itself is also not even encouraging a good production of the milk.
So you would be in support of ranching?
That would be the best. That would be the best.
And we have the Ministry of Livestock now. I wonder if you hear anything about that coming from the Ministry of Livestock.
Yes, I've heard about that. But in our environment, when such come up, it takes time for it to trickle down and you begin to see the effect of it. So we are following up to see how that helps. But I believe it will help a lot. It will help.
Hopefully.
Yes.
So apart from insecurity, when we look at your line of work, you have very sensitive raw materials. That means the issue of storage and preservation also is very key for you to have a good product, that's consumable at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's another area. If you visit our factory, you're going to find more than 4 different generators that we run, because yogurt is one of the very sensitive products. You are expected to produce, transfer it to your cold room, move them in terms of distribution through cooling vans. But you have two major challenges. The one, there is inconsistency of power at the moment. So we use a lot of diesel, and then in the cost of distribution, you can find a truck on the road for a week. It's stuck somewhere because of traffic, and that aspect of the road is bad. So that also is affecting a lot in that sector. So it's quite challenging, but having been in the business for 20 years, we try to find a way to go around it through networking, leveraging a relationship, and then having distribution center where the products are moved to, and from there they are redistributed. That's how we
talking about energy, what about renewables? A lot of people seem to be going that way now. Is it too expensive, or it's not available for you?
Yeah, renewable is good, all right, but if you are going to build up a renewable source of energy for industrial use, the cost is enormous. The cost is enormous.
But on a long term, they say it makes sense.
On a long term, it makes sense, but that also brings us back to our funding system. How do you fund a project on a long term where you're going to pay over 40% interest rate? How are you going to keep it? Manufacturing do not yield high margin. It's little margin. So if you're going to go on a long-term funding of a project and the interest rate is so high, that's business suicidal. You're not going to be able to survive it. So that's another problem. It's another problem.
And then you talked about logistics, when you said, maybe you want to do a delivery, stock and traffic and all of that. I guess you're talking about the issue of roads, for instance.
Yes, I have a number of trucks that move our products across the country. I've had time when drivers sent me photographs and video of them cooking on the express. There's no movement. Road is stuck. All right?
What areas would that be?
Majorly, if you look at it from Benin to Warri, then to Port Harcourt, that axis is quite tough right now. And then they also give me a report of between, I think, a lorry going towards the north. Those two positions, they keep sending me pictures. And sometimes you find there was a day they were in a particular place for 3 days before they got back. So that's another major setback. But I think some area they said they're working on them. I'm sure when they are done, it can ease our distribution. And
I can imagine what rail would do.
That would have been wonderful. That would have been wonderful. But that's not fully where it should be right now. Yeah.
So in all of this, how does it feed into your pricing system over the years? Because some of these things have become luxurious. Especially things something like yogurt. You want to think twice before you go into the shop that you want to buy yogurt.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, like I said before, yogurt today is very expensive. One of the reasons is all of these factors. I remember 2013, 2014, we were buying a bag of milk for 13,000, 14,000, 17,000. Right now, we're buying a bag of milk for about 165,000, 170,000, depending on the brand. But we try to use the best we can find. So that affects. Then look at, we're buying diesel, maybe over 100 naira, but right now we're buying diesel over 1,000 naira per liter. So you use diesel for your trucks. You also use diesel for your generator to run operation. So when you put all this together and then look at the length of time the truck will be on the road to supply and come back, all of them make the product very expensive. That's the truth.
And what would you say about the consumer's trend, with these changes? How have consumers been reacting to it?
Yes, if you look at it very well, the reaction has been quite sharp. Consumption has really gone down. I remember that there used to be a time, what a staff used to sell in a day, a salesperson. Honestly, about 7 salespersons will not sell it now in a day. Because you have to virtually go every nooks and cranny looking for those who can afford the product. In fact, that was one of the reasons why we spread into different states in the country, because we saw that the population we're serving was reducing and reducing. So it's okay. Those who can afford it, go look for them in every state in the country. So we started spreading to various states. That was the strategy we were able to use to survive. So right now, it's not. It's like a middle class product. That's the truth.
And that's of course the spread will also cost you more. So your overhead also increases and feeds into the price of the product again.
A lot.
The consumer bears it at the end. But thank you so much for sharing your experience with us this morning. The Managing Director of Cedar Divine Nigeria Limited, Mr. Mike Ewewe.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here.